How we doing, guys? Sam and Adam back with this week's fishing report for you. It's May 1st, guys. That means rockfish. So for you folks looking to get out and slip out for the rockfish here in the Upper Bay, you can keep them. You want to make sure you look at your regulations. A lot of the rivers are still closed off, but we have the typical slot size around here, one fish at 19 to 24 inches. So great time to slip out there in the Upper Bay. A lot of good fish. It seems shallow, especially in the mornings and evenings. A lot of the topwater bites around some of the mouths of the rivers has been really productive. Over towards the Love Point area, I've seen some better of the open water suspended fish. Usually casting most of your 5 to 7 inch plastics on anywhere from a ½ ounce to 1 ounce head, kind of depending on the depth and the tide and things like that. But the fish are definitely around. Those resident fish have become more and more prevalent lately. All the way down towards some of the lower eastern shore, some of the islands have been really productive for guys. A lot of shallow water structure, throwing paddle tail swim baits, lighter jigs in the shallows, and then deeper water, stepping up to some of those heavier jigs. You can also catch them with bait. We're going to have live spot here at the shop soon. We've got some soft crabs coming in and out throughout the week. So great time to get out there.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a great time to get out there and start keeping your one rockfish a day. As far as some other stuff going on in the bay, we've got Catfish. Remember, guys, we do have our Catfish tournament this weekend. Today's your last day to sign up because lines in are at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. A lot of things that you can do for Catfish right now. Heard of a pretty good bite off of Pedickery. Heard of a really good bite in the Patuxent, the Potomac as well. Really anywhere at the mouths of your rivers too, the mouth of the Chester. Just make sure you're outside of that line, even if you are catfishing, just so you don't get into any sort of controversy there. But you can throw bunker, you can throw mud shad, chicken liver, any of that stuff is going to be really, really good just on a regular old fish finder rig. You can use a top bottom rig too, but yeah, so Sammy's got this right here. This is Magic Catfish Dip Bait, blood flavored. This is something new that we got in here. Sammy likes the smell of it.
It's good. It's like a fruity anise.
It's like, it's not good.
It's not that bad.
It's not good, but the catfish will enjoy it. You can smear it all over your baits. If you're jigging for them, you can smear that all over it too. My eyes are literally watering. That's disgusting.
It's not that bad.
But anyways, smear that on some of your catfish bait. You might get a couple bites. As far as some other stuff going on in the bay, you want to tell us about some white perch, Sammy?
Yeah, white perch are starting to finally show up in some of your typical summer locations, which is really everywhere, which is a good sign. They've been a little bit slow getting back out in the main bay and to the kind of middle of the rivers, but it's the time to go out there and get them. Small spinners like perch pounders, beetle spins, rooster tails. Casting up towards the shorelines is really productive for that. Starting to see a few fish out on the reef in some of the open water, those 10 to 20 foot oyster bars or any sort of deep water structure. Classic little sabiki, pretty hard to beat on those. You can catch them a variety of different ways. Still not full force white perch, but that should be coming here in the next week or so.
Yeah, for sure. And before we take you guys down to the coast, I know you guys are going to want to hear about that. We're going to talk about freshwater first. Your largemouth and smallmouth bass, good number of them should be starting to show up on beds right now. Not all of them, but a good number of them should be showing up on beds. As we've talked in previous reports, when those bass are on the beds, you really just want to try and piss them off. You want to make your bait look like a crawfish or a bluegill or something trying to pick off their eggs. If you're looking for sort of a newer Ned rig bait, if you're fishing some of your local ponds and lakes that get hit pretty hard, these fuzzy TRDs are a really good option. Little bit of a different presentation than they're used to seeing on a Ned rig. And if you see those bass on a bed, guys, try and spot them from as far away as you can so you don't spook them. Cast up towards them and just bounce that thing on their bed. They might just go ahead and slurp them up. As far as the largemouth go, all of your mill ponds should be great options to look right now. Your reservoirs up by Baltimore should be great spots to look. Any of your neighborhood ponds and lakes, Annapolis Waterworks, all of that stuff should be good places for you to go look for largemouth. As far as smallmouth are concerned, there should be more of them on beds than the largemouth. They tend to spawn at a little bit of a cooler temperature. We've had some low flows this past week, and I know people were getting off after it in the Potomac and the Monocacy and the Susquehanna. We did just get a lot of rain, so make sure you check your flow gauges to make sure you're being safe out there. But a little finesse jig this time of year, I really, really like. Those crawfish are starting to come up out of the mud, and the smallmouth should be snacking on these like candy.
It's a good jig.
Yeah, good jig for sure. As far as some other freshwater stuff, you want to talk about snakehead, Sammy?
Yeah, so snakehead fishing is really kind of in its full swing here. It's a great time to get out before they start spawning hard because they're going to get a little bit more challenging to catch. Some of the warmer days, guys are having success with the topwater, the hollow belly frogs, or rigged weedless with like the paddle-tail frogs. But really, most of your bites are going to come from your subsurface baits. It's really exciting to catch them on the topwater, but often more productive to fish those smaller paddle tails and whites and black and blues, stuff that shows up in those kind of darker upper tributaries that we're fishing for these fish in. Another good thing is just a minnow under a bobber, really hard to beat. You can do that just about anywhere. For snakehead, a lot of folks are often asking where to get them. Really, they're in all the tributaries now. On the west side from the Road River all the way up to the Patapsco and north, and on the eastern side they even go further down because some of those rivers reach a little bit further up. But any of those upper tributaries getting into where you see a lot more freshwater than saltwater is going to give you a pretty good shot at.
As far as some other freshwater stuff goes, crappie should be nice and fired up right now. Definitely go with a little Roadrunner jig like this. That is definitely a great option for you. That little blade, that little chartreuse curly tail, they tend to go crazy for that. Just looks like a little minnow. It's a great search bait, and then once you find them, you can sort of throw whatever you want at them that represents a little bug or a minnow. Like I said, they should be pretty fired up right now. The headwaters of some of your tidal creeks and rivers are going to be a great place to look, as well as your eastern shore mill ponds, your reservoirs. Anywhere where you guys are finding largemouth bass, you're very likely to find crappie as well. As far as stuff going on the coast, really good surf bite going on right now, guys. You want to tell us a little bit about that, Sammy?
Yeah, so from all the way up from Delaware all the way down to the south tip of Chincoteague, fishing could be really productive this time of the year. The cool thing about the first week of May is you really have everything going on. Something I've been excited about is the big bluefish that come down the coast. They're here, not in great numbers, but that should be to come in the next week or so, but they are catching them. Whether you want to cast plugs at them, some of these X-Wraps are always a good choice, or any of those harder diving plugs like your Yozuris or your Daiwa minnows. But also small paddle tails that are rigged, that are more durable like this, can be good in the surf, especially any of the Z-Mans that have that kind of tougher tail to them. Another thing to have is casting metals. Any sort of small inline metal jigging spoon that you can sling out there really far when you see them blitzing is a really productive bait as well. Drum are still being caught, not quite in the numbers we saw last week and the week prior, but they're still out there. Seems like a little bit smaller class pushing in, but those are still fun fish to fight. And most of those have been caught on high-low rigs or small sinker flounder rigs with some fish bites on there and some sand fleas or any sort of clams that you can get a hold of.
For sure. And as far as one more thing in the surf, I know some guys are starting to catch a couple flounder in those troughs between that second and first bar. You can throw little teaser rigs like this, bucktails, anything like that, stick some gulps on there, shiners, minnows, squid, any of that stuff is going to work really good. As far as flounder fishing in the back bay, it was a little tricky this week. We had a lot of wind, we had a lot of dirty water, and I know a lot of guys were struggling. A couple people did catch some flounder in the back bays of Ocean City, but I know it was a struggle a little bit. Tautog, though, in the back bays has been pretty good. I've heard of some keepers being caught. You can use green crabs, you can use blue crab, you can use shrimp. Any of that stuff is going to work good for tautog.
Bunker? And then, probably not.
Probably not bunker. But as far as some other stuff on the 50 bridge, they're still catching some cow rockfish there, as well as plenty of schoolies, and the bluefish should start showing up any day now, too. But I think that about does it for our fishing report this week. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.